behalf of Bishop Dr. Thompson, my wife, Sister Valerie, and of course, Sister Monique Thompson, we wish to acknowledge the presence of our National Overseer, Bishop Dr. Franklin M. Ferguson, and his dear wife, Minister Dr. Vina Ferguson. Joined today also by Bishop Van Beneby and his dear wife, of course, the ministry, large church, and their spouses. Thank the Lord for our brothers and sisters who are here with us today. And we also bless the Lord for those who come from the community. We had anticipated that we would have good weather, but God has deemed it otherwise. And so we thank the Lord just the same, because God is a wonderful God. Say amen. Amen. I am so delighted to have a dear friend with us today, and Dr. Timothy Barrett. His name is a household one in our country. He has effectively helped in the building of this country and trying to give us perspective over the years as to where, as a people, we must be. But he's not only a clinician in his field of ecology, also he is a born-again believer in Jesus Christ, and he's a minister, an ordained minister from way back in the late 1990s. And so we're so happy, but he's not only here by himself, he brought his lovely wife, and we are so delightful that you are here now. His daughter is here to please stand. Turn around and show. I spoke with Dr. Barrett this morning. He asked me if it was okay for his son to come and bring his saxophone. And the first question I asked was if he could play. And so Dr. Barrett said he played at his graduation at Northern State University. And so we're so happy that he's here. Stand up, you know, Barrett. I may say so on behalf of Bishop Woodley, you look very much at home up here with the praise team. I understand you're saved. I know your family are saved. And so, if it sounds as if I'm fishing for you to come here, I must confess, I am fishing for you to come here. And so by the response of our people here today, you will know exactly how they feel. And so, you know, all right? But he's going to present to us today our country has been badly traumatized. And we have some of the survivors to here with us today in the service. So we invited them to come, and they've come. And we believe that God has given you, through your professional preparation, your spiritual discernment, that God has equipped you this time to speak to our prayers and serve God. And after he's done, we're going to ask our engineering people to make sure you have a microphone in the back there, because we're sending them. Because we really want you to be interactive. If you have questions or concerns that you perhaps want to talk about. This is a press down Sunday. This is an informal Sunday. So let's take advantage of whatever need God has provided for us today. And let's be blessed in the house of we should be.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, as we come to you, just ask, oh God, that your divine presence rest upon us, and rest upon us today. Let your divine inspiration and your illumination and your fresh anointing move through him, that we might be encouraged, that we might be strengthened, that God, that words of healing and comfort, words of hope and restoration would just flow from him, Lord, from your throne. Bless him now as he seeks to be a blessing to us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
So Bishop, since you put me in the mic here, I want to take liberty and ask my son to do a little amazing grace for us. Just start us off. Amazing grace. Get started. Today it's a privilege and a pleasure to be sharing with you some information about what happens when we have disasters or calamities. So I'm going to be talking to you about the psychological responses to disaster. And you know, your theme is God's safety net, and that's Psalm 46. God is our refuge. This sounds of horror, right? God is our refuge and our strength. Very present in time of trouble. So this is my agenda. I'm doing a little introduction, a definition, and then going on to just put all of them up. So and then I'll just read them up. I'm talking about the physical reactions. The Bible says, "My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge," and therefore we who stand here must seek to give you the knowledge that we have. And that's very important. All right? Okay, so you have some physical reactions, you have cognitive reactions, that's thinking, ideas, images. You have emotional reactions. In fact, when I get to emotional reactions, I'm going to do a little side move on that to talk generally about emotional reactions and why you should not let them rule your life. Say amen. Amen. Okay. Because when we see it cloud over like this, it immediately changes our mood. Isn't that amazing? I tell you what, your plane leaving this morning at 6:24. Guess what? You weren't going to miss it. I know, amen. It's where we place our priorities, and you have to understand how to not let your mood convince you that you should or should not be doing something. You have to go according to your principles and your priorities. That's very important. And then you will be living a principle-centered life. We talk about the behavioral reactions. I'm going to briefly mention things like post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety disorders, depression, etc. And then I'm going to focus on psychological first aid and other types of treatment, but mainly psychological first aid, because anybody who's sitting in the pews can render psychological first aid if you're so equipped. All right, there's a WHO website, World Health Organization, WHO. All you need to do is go on the website, put in psychological first aid, drop down menu will come with whatever language, with a number of languages. You choose the language you want and click on that language and you get a 64-page document. And it gives you the general guidelines and gives you do's and don'ts. I brought some of it here this morning with me. I printed off a few pages and I might read from one or two of them. And then preparing the community to respond, because the hurricane that just passed affected the national psyche. It didn't just affect those people in Grand Bahama and the Abacos. It affected the national psyche. It is unprecedented in the history of the Western Hemisphere, in recorded history, for a hurricane to be this powerful and affect land. It is unprecedented that it would stay in one place with those strong winds, 185 and above, for such an extended period of time. And the people who would have experienced this, and I don't know if you're here from Abaco or the Abacos or Grand Bahama, but certainly in Abaco, they would tell you that at least a dozen tornadoes were spawned by this hurricane. We hear about hurricane. You should let, I've talked to at least, with groups and individuals, close to 300 people so far. I have a lot of accounts, of detailed accounts. That's what they gave me, they didn't ask for it. Okay. Of the tornadoes coming off the water onto the land, back on the water, onto the land. One group of people said the tornado split into three and walked upon the land. And to a person, they told me that they had never heard a sound like this. This sound that they, when we inside and we batten up and we listen to hurricane, that's what we used to. They said, no. They said it was like the roar of a vicious, violent animal. Wow. I didn't realize that you could have flashbacks that were auditory, documented. I thought flashbacks were visual until, and I'm going to document, when these things happen, you have to put it and let people know that these things are occurring. Until people said I woke up hearing the roar. And I'm saying these things because as I explain to you what I need you to know about how to help, I also need you to understand that you have no idea. See, you're sitting here and you might have been through Matthew. Matthew is nothing compared to this. I don't know how many of y'all have been through Betsy. You're only nothing been through Betsy. Anybody know Betsy? You remember Hurricane Betsy? That's a long time ago. I dated myself now. That was a powerful hurricane. And we were backing up and then, they, of course, you have to take down your TV and television. Take it down and wait till the hurricane passes and put it back up. Y'all don't know nothing about TV and that, young people. Y'all know satellite dish. So, what's a disaster? A great or sudden misfortune. Okay? A calamitous event. A calamity is the same as disaster, so it's, especially one occurring suddenly and causing great loss of life. We'll never know the final outcome. We'll never know. There are people who went missing who will never know went missing. I don't know what the big deal was about how many at first, because at the end of the day, there was tremendous loss of life. We knew that once we saw what the problem was, and before you start talking about numbers, you got to make sure you identify people and then tell the family members. It's a process. You can't rush it. And the word comes from French, Latin, Greek origins, which means without star or ill-starred, suggesting a calamity blamed on an unfavorable position of the planet. In the old days, everything was according to how the planets were lined up, and whatever happened was an act of God, especially if it's something that disaster. How come disasters are disaster of God? What about the good things? You understand what I'm saying? What about the good things? What about the sunshine? That when you don't appreciate things, you start taking it for granted. The minute you start appreciating, you start taking it for granted. All right, that's gold for people who are in relationships. All right, who married in here? Raise your hand. All right, okay. So what I just said is for y'all. Appreciate your mate, and you don't take it for granted. Now, how do you show appreciation? In any number of ways. I can veer off in several different directions, especially after. Excuse me. Okay, so what are the physical reactions? When these things happen and you're dealing now with the aftermath. During the hurricane, you can imagine what I'm talking about multiplied by 20 or 100, okay? But this is after But we're talking about after. Remember, this is in the aftermath of Dorian. So you get increased heart rate, blood pressure, and respiration. People will find themselves not being able to breathe properly, or always being aware that their heart is beating a little faster. And the way I like to explain it, I explained it to a couple of volunteers that came to the United States that for the Catholic Diocese the other day, and they said, oh wow, I didn't even understand it until you told us that way. The old cars that needed a choke to be pulled out, all the modern cars have an automatic choke. So when you start your car, it has an automatic choke. It gives a richer fuel mixture when the engine is still cold, so the car can keep running until the engine warms up, and then it idles down around 75, right? Okay. But in the old days, when we started the car, the standard shift, you have to pull the choke out, cool down on it, and you start the car. If you put the choke back in, the car cut off. Alright? What do you know? And so I preach in Hulan. But that's what preachers do, they pick up somebody. And have a conversation. Everybody else listen. Okay. And so you start it, and you leave the choke out, and you drive. And as you're driving, you forget the choke is out because you can't hear the car going boom because you have your foot on the gas. It isn't until you put the car in neutral, when you come to a stop, that you hear the car going and you say, oh, the choke's still up. All right, you push the choke in, and you get nice and high down. So, what am I talking about? Your physiological state, your body's reaction. When these things, when you are placed in this kind of distress, the physiological choke comes out. So you're in hyperdrive. Alright? And depends on who you are, what you have to deal with, the kind of support you have, what kind of services you have available to you, this kind of information that you may or may not get. Okay, what else is happening, whether somebody's injured or your choke will go in over a period of time. Some people choke may go in 3 days. Some people choke may take 2 months to go in, you see? But it keeps you hyper alert, tense, worried. We'll talk about some of the other things. You may get nausea, diarrhea, may become clammy and sweaty, tremors, headaches, tingling and numbness and weakness, difficulty focusing, sore muscle aches and pains, lump in the throat, chest pains, dizziness, increased startle response, that's because your choke's still up. Okay, fatigue, change in appetite, muffled hearing. Somebody told me, Doc, I feel hungry, but I take 2 mouthfuls and I full. All right. Did you all know that all of those symptoms are caused by non-physical things? You see all of those in there? All of them are caused by non-physical things. And I guess the most important thing I want to get across to you today is the connection between your mental, emotional state and your physical state. You don't need to have something wrong with your belly to have a bellyache. In fact, a lot of people go to the gastroenterologist whose office I'm right across the street from, and he ends up sending them to me because he would have done all the endoscopies and the gastroscopies and everything else. And he said, I don't find anything physically wrong. And that's correct. There's something wrong, but it ain't physical. It's affecting your physical, but it isn't physical. So I hope, the other day I was watching television and I just happened across a discussion. They want to introduce a 3-digit number in the United States now for mental health emergencies, a 988 number. Did anybody hear about that? I just happened to come across it. Wonderful. They said, we don't want 7 digits anymore. We want, just like you have your 911, we need a 988, and then, of course, that's going to have to be manned and resourced by people who know what to say to you and where to direct you when they answer your call. But there's that connection. Now, there's also the other connection, cognitive reactions. This is, remember, ideas, thoughts, images, okay, memory problems. You can't concentrate, you can't pay attention, you're distracted. Difficulty naming objects. You don't need much to throw you off to disable you, All you need is to not be able to focus and pay attention, to be distracted and not know how to regain your focus. You get disoriented because you can't pay attention. In fact, you're driving and you're supposed to be in one place and you end up someplace else. Alright? You have slow thinking, poor comprehension, difficulty making judgments, solving problems, loss of ability to prioritize tasks, loss of objectivity. What do I mean by loss of objectivity? Everything is subjective. You can't see yourself outside the situation. Everything, you are in the middle of it and everything refers to you. And then there's the emotional reaction. This may cause people to, because they realize, okay, the storm may take me out. And I thought I was gone. Okay, they're feeling high, heroic, invulnerable because you should hear some of the stories. They went, after the roof went, there's no place to stay inside, but the wind's still blowing. So they go outside and have to be outside a couple hours in the wind behind a little sheltered place. Then they decide, no, we can't stay here. We gotta get to the next place over there. And they go through water up to here, or they swim. These are some horrific stories. But once you get to that, you may feel high, heroic, and vulnerable. A lot of people were grateful for being alive. A lot of people will tell you, I knew there was a God because only the presence of a God prevented us from our demise. One lady in her house, the wind blew her door in. The wind blew her door in, front door. And she said if the wind hadn't knocked her down first, the door would have killed her because of the speed at which it passed. It cut her leg. Alright. But she said, I'm glad my leg. I don't mind that. She said, because if that door had hit me, I would have been a dead person. And then there's strong identification with victims, but you also get a lot of anger and blame. Who was supposed to do what, didn't do what. And some of the anger might be directed at yourself. Your mood may be irritable and restless. You may just be numb. You may be in denial. You may be walking around the days with numbness. You may be full of sadness, grief, depression. You may just generally be moody. Sleep problems are very, very frequent. And most people suffer some sleep problems and are still suffering sleep problems. You may have recurrent dreams of the event. I'll talk about that when we talk about PTSD. You may have guilt. You may have survival guilt. You may have a sense of a need to do more, but you can't do more. You may feel detached and isolated. You may lose interest in the things that you normally do. But most people who go through this, if not all, are going to be affected by the distress of having gone through this. I remember, most of the people are going to recover and and they're going to use this as a watershed moment in their life to go in a better and a different direction. And for us as Christians, we need to pause to reflect on whether or not we just come to church, quote a scripture or two, but we don't really try to improve our relationship with God by understanding what His Word says and putting it into practice. All right, BIBLE, right? Basic instructions before leaving earth. And so it's important that you understand the Bible is a book of practical instructions to help you live the best life possible. And in this moment, if you can't reflect on your limitations, okay? What else could we do? Most people said, nothing more I can do. There was a gentleman, he was in a house with 3 children and another lady and three children. One of them was his 4-year-old daughter. And I said, did you feel responsible for making sure that you protected the people in the house? And did you feel as a man, the only man there, did you feel responsible? He looked me in my face, he said, Doc, I couldn't protect myself, much less that. And that realization came to him while he was holding on to his daughter, praying. And believe you me, if you were an atheist, you would have prayed. I went to a psychiatric symposium a couple of years ago, where the research shows that everybody who is diagnosed with cancer and calls themselves an atheist, they pray. All right? You know, there is a sense of limitation. We are limited. Here's my favorite passage of scripture, and I'll tell you, it's my favorite passage of scripture because it acknowledges my limits. Remember the gentleman who brought his son who had the epilepsy to the disciples? All right? You know they talk about that. And he said, he came to Jesus afterwards. He said, I took them to your disciples, but they couldn't heal him. So I didn't want to bother you, but I got to bother you now because my son's still ain't healed. So Jesus, the great physician, started taking the history. He said, how long has this been going on? He said, ever since he was a little boy, he threw himself in the fire, he would hurt himself. I hear you, but can you heal him? What did Jesus say to him? He looked at him, he said, if you can believe, anything is possible. Now, what I just said, I said a principle that Jesus established by talking to that man, but He's talking to you too. When He would heal people, He would say, be it unto you what? According to your belief. He said, if you can believe, anything is possible. Now, here is where I really get excited. This man says, Lord, I believe. Help thou my unbelief. In other words, if I need 100% and I only got 50, please put the 50 in for me. If I need 100 and I only got 90, put the 10 in for me. If I need 100 and I have 10, put the 90 in for me. I ain't worrying about how much faith I have. I'm saying, Lord, I'm depending on you to help thou my unbelief. Are you hearing me? Or I lean on that all the time. I am limited in my understanding. I am limited in my knowledge of when to apply the faith that I have and how. Yeah? You need to not think more highly of yourself than you are. Okay? And we are limited. Everything about us is limited. And what we realize from Dorian is that our time is limited and we have to reflect on our own mortality and our helplessness in the face of something as powerful as Dorian. And guess what? God is, I don't know, there's not a number to describe how many more times He is more powerful than Dorian. Okay? Because He is what? Omnipotent. God's help. All right? Okay. I finished with emotional yet. Go back to that. I said when I got to emotional reactions, I was going to talk to you about how not to let your emotions. You see it there, so I don't have to read the whole thing. You can see it, I know you can see it. But we are emotional beings. So what happens is when we have, anything happens, we have an emotional reaction. Now, let me help you to understand, because if I do nothing else, if I help you to understand where your emotions come from and who's responsible, then it's worth the time and effort you use to come out and I use to prepare. You have an emotional reaction and it tells you what. You start saying, oh, she made me so vexed. He pissed me off. He made me so angry. Now, don't we say things like that? I hear you. So when you say, he made me so vexed, what do? You're giving control of your emotion to who made you vexed. And when we interview people, we get caught up in asking people, how did that make you feel? You hear? If you hear people interview, I would say, how did you feel when that happened? See, same, I want to know how you feel, but I'm not telling or indicating that something was able to make you feel anything, because nothing is able to make you feel. Because if it was, it would go against God's law. Oh, which law is that? Free will to choose. Free will. Your greatest gift from God is free will. With it you could choose life or death, blessings or good. Is it? Then you do wrong, right? The whole I call heaven and earth witness against you this day, that I have set before you life and death, blessings and good. But choose life, so that what? You and your descendants may live. Not just you. Choose life so that you and your descendants may live. So remember now, what's your name? Janice. So she's Janice. So Janice says, I am so angry. Because that's what we say too, right? I am angry. I am upset. We say that, right? Just be quiet. So Janice says, I am angry. What's she saying? She's saying, right now my name is not Janice. My name is angry. And angry is going to make all the decisions and choices for me and how I, oh, thank you, darling. I see when you get it. All right? So there's only one I am, and it's not you. So whenever you say I am, it has to be talking about a temporary situation. All right? I gotta be talking about something temporary because there's only one I am, permanent, immutable, unchangeable, right? So you could say, I am feeling upset. Perfectly normal. Because you ain't gonna be feeling upset all day, every day. So it has to be temporary. I am feeling it's okay. But the only reason Janice, is going to be feeling upset is because something happened and she didn't like it. Oh, did everybody hear me? Something happened and she didn't like it. It's because she don't like it that she reacts, not because of what it is. Because if it was the thing that had the ability to make her angry, then it would make you angry, everybody. But there's no such thing. We all react differently. In fact, that's what we have to remember, that everybody who's been through this, who hears about this, is going to react differently and think differently based on who you are and what lens you see the world through. right? So if you put on red glasses, everything will look red. If you put on yellow glasses, everything will look yellow. So whatever the color of your glasses are that you look at the world through, and nobody can look at the world through your eyes. The way I like to put it is nobody can take a piece of rice in your mouth. Okay. So we can finish with that slide and we can go to the next one. And the next slide talks to us about behavioral reactions, where there's difficulty in communicating, decrease in your efficiency and effectiveness, outbursts of anger, frequent arguments, hyperactivity, inability to rest or to let down, feel wound up all the time. You sleep, you may feel that you get up in the morning, but you still feel tired because you don't get a restful sleep. Tearfulness, periods of crying. Saw some people, they just start crying. They said, I don't know why. And the thing is, they don't want to be crying. And they can't make a connection between why they're crying and the tears. And then, if you used to use alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs, you increase it. Because that's the way you're going to self-medicate and comfort yourself. Or you withdraw socially, and you don't pay attention to anybody. Now, we're going to quickly go through the next few slides where I talk about children and adults and older adults. Children, adolescents, and older adults. With children, it depends on the age, all right? The usual signs are regression. What do I mean by regression? You go back to a former stage of development. So if the child has already been dry, they start wetting again. If they already had been potty trained, you might find them soiling again. It all depends on what age and what they were exposed to. You'll hear them talking baby talk. One day they say, oh, that's why they know how to do that. And she could recognize it. And then for adolescents, you know, during adolescence there's an emancipation struggle. Okay? They want to be free from parents. So they stop doing that because they become more dependent now. Okay? And then there's a decline in emerging interests and activities that they would have that were age appropriate. And then the next one. There's loss of appetite, indigestion, vomiting, bowel bladder problems, sleep. The same things that adults would have, they have that too. And the emotional, the nervousness, irritability, the disobedience. Tics are strange movements that sometimes come with blinking or shoulder movements or neck movements. They're called tics, T-I-C-S, not T-I-C-K-S. And then clinging to parents, withdrawal from playgroups, friends and family, problems with school, decline in school achievement, sharp resistance, increasing resistance to school and parental authority, marked increase or decrease in decline in physical activity, and lose their confidence that they once had. Now, older adults, they're an at-risk group because I heard stories of people who would not leave. I've been here for the last 40 years, I ain't going nowhere. Okay? And research shows that older adults have a high incidence of personal loss, injury, and death because their existing problems with sight, hearing, and mobility all place older adults at a higher risk of physical injury. Research also shows that older adults are less likely to evacuate, less likely to heed warnings, and less likely to acknowledge hazards and dangerous situations. Why? Because because they done been through all of them storms. I've been right here. So why leaving now? Are you here? Okay. And that's one time when the experience was against it. And additionally, a larger proportion of older persons have chronic illnesses that may worsen with the stress of disaster, particularly when there's a slow recovery. Briefly, I'm just going to talk to you about some other disorders. Acute stress disorder and post-traumatic stress disorder, they're just about one and the same. For the first 30 days, if you have symptoms of flashbacks and startle response and waking up with nightmares, that's acute stress disorder. After 30 days, same symptoms, we call it post-traumatic stress disorder. Then there's a situation we call complex psychological fragmentation, where you lose your sense of safety, trust, and self-worth. There's a tendency for you to feel like a victim, along with the loss of your coherent sense of self. Now, all of that just means that you get really disabled, and your sense of who you are and your competency goes out the window, no matter what. And that needs some expert psychotherapy sometimes to get you back on track. And then there are anxiety disorders, especially in those who are already predisposed to anxiety disorders. Major depression, that's an illness that can lead to death, suicide, or suicide and homicide. Then there's bipolar depression, and the psychoses, including schizophrenia. What psychological first aid should do is identify those persons who need another level of expertise and funnel them off to those helping agencies or resources so they can get the timely intervention to prevent these things from occurring. And that's important. All right, so let's look at what psychological first aid is. Support, understanding, reassurance, education, referral, which does not intrude into the person's personal life. Too often when you get people talking to people who've gone through something that's disabling or frightening or horrific, the person is just interested in hearing the details. They're not interested in helping so much as they're interested in being fascinated by what the person is saying. But you're not the right person to help. You just nosy. You have to assess needs and concerns and provide basic necessities first. What we do? Search and rescue, right? So first thing, safety and security, food and shelter. That's what you have to determine. Your safety is secure, your family secure, you have some place to stay, you have food to eat, Because you know how many people don't know now where their job is going to come from, when they're going to get paid. Some companies and organizations are saying, okay, we guarantee you 2 months, but hey, they're thinking, what about the third month? They're here in 2 months, but they're focusing on 2 months. And they're thinking about what happens when the third month comes. So be available, sometimes by telephone. Don't start something that you don't intend to continue. Listen more than talk, and do not pressure them to talk. If they don't want to talk, you can't tell them, come on, talking to make you feel better. You don't know that. You don't know that. Okay? Use gentle touching to comfort and calm when appropriate. Give information about available resources. So you need to have the information where resources are, where the health centers are, where the shelters are, where the different agencies are. You need to have that information. And do not tell them how blessed and fortunate they are or compare them with others. They don't hear that. They're in distress. You know, they want you to empathize with their level of distress that's happening right now. Explain to them the symptoms that they have as far as you understand them, and when you don't understand, say, I don't understand, but I can send you to somebody who does. That's so important. Emphasize the universality of experience. What do I mean by universality of experience? Everybody who goes through a horrific experience similar to that is going to be distressed. Okay? Some form of distress. So, yeah. Now, how you manifest that, that's different. But you all share the fact that you're distressed. And encourage them to try and get back into, you know, they used to exercise, do that, if you used to go for a walk. You may not feel like it, you know. How many people here really, in church now, watch out, I want to lightning strike me. Do things according to how you feel. How many people? Raise your hand. Yeah, plenty more than that, but I get duck outside. You know, we got this thing, churn, you hear me call it? Why you don't come? See that? And even if I send my dog after you, send my cat after you tell me I don't care. Because my feelings are driving. So you got Speedy Wonder driving your car. And you don't mind. But you know, you had it for a while. Crash. Again, have the feeling, understand, oh, that's what I feel when this happens. That's your learning time. That's what I feel when things like this happen. It informs you about who? You, not about the situation. And then make your choice based on priorities and of importance of you is already determined. Now, here's what psychological first aid is not, okay? It is not something that only professionals can do. Remember I said anybody in here can do it. Okay? It is not professional counseling. It is lay counseling. It is assistance and help, support. And it is not psychological debriefing. In fact, when this came along, it replaced psychological debriefing because psychological debriefing was not helpful. Psychological debriefing demanded you give details, etc., etc. This replaces that. Analysis, it is not analysis of what took place or a recall of the events in chronological order, and it is not pressuring people to tell you their story along with their feelings and reactions, and it certainly isn't diagnosis and treatment. It is what is you put a band-aid on this thing until you can get somebody to come and look and see what it is, determine how to deal with it. And preparing the community to respond. But I've suggested to the political director that we have training sessions for a wide variety of persons in the community and develop a critical incident response team. That should have happened a long time ago, but I'm saying that going forward. Okay. Your responses should be phased. Right afterwards, 4 to 6 weeks, 6 weeks to 6 months, and then we'll have to see what happens when we meet after that. And then our committee should say, okay, this is what we need going forward. Educate the public, but this is what we're doing here today. You're the public, and you're being educated, hopefully. And remember that 60% of persons giving help are adversely affected by the process. So if you can get involved, you got to remember that you're now at risk. Because if you hear the stories and if you're exposed, you can develop, with all that has happened and what is going on in social media, you can develop PTSD vicariously Now, and if you don't know what that word is, you don't have to be there to make up with flashbacks because of what you saw on social media, what you heard, or what somebody described to you, especially if you have a loved one in the area and you can't find out what's happening, but you hear about what's going on, and in your mind, oh boy, they can die, and you feel helpless to do anything about it. That's where the psychological wound comes in. That's the damage. That means you got to rotate personnel in and out of the area. You have to learn stress management, and you have to know your limits and take care of yourself. What we all share in here is that we are human. And whenever you say human, it comes with limitations. That's what Jesus had to subject himself to in order to save us. The limits of humanity. And so I hope your interest has been piqued, as P-I-Q-U-E-D, now, so that you may have some idea of what to do and what not to do. I've given you some information about the WHO website. But more importantly, I hope that as Christians we understand that this is the most wonderful time. Whenever something is uncomfortable, that's a learning time, you know, because either you learn or you met. You grow or you grown. You let it teach you or you let it torment you. You have to decide which one of those that it's going to be. And so this is our time to step back, do introspection, ask God what the meaning is. Don't listen to these people talking about who God punished, because you can't speak for God. You understand? And his ways, he told us, are above our ways, and his thoughts are above our thoughts. And he didn't say how far above, he just said wherever you go is above that. So you don't have to worry about getting to that level. His word is in the Bible. We can read that and we can pray for the Holy Spirit to guide us in the path of truth in relation to that, and get a better understanding of our lives, how we can live better lives, how we can be better husbands, wives, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, community citizens, better church members, better workers in our workplaces. It's so important to use this opportunity to grow. There's no gold medal down Comfort Street. Okay? So when you see the discomfort, say, growth time. So God bless all of you. And I hope you have been blessed by this.
Persons who have questions, who send it on to repeat our interest with your word, and I certainly will be a lesson to us. But maybe persons who have questions or a very brief comment. So I will start the question. That is, as Christians, we are inclined to have how would you measure yourself? This is the aftermath, or how would you measure when you are overly attached to your close, very absorbed in these challenges to the extent that we are attacking science and before even something else is observation.
We need to step up. Can you tell us about the mechanics of that, please?
Yes. The two things that you have to look out for is, number one, creating dependency in the person you're helping on you. and you're becoming over-involved in their life and not being able to disengage. And you have to have a plan before you go in with limits, because we're in crisis mode now. And when we deliver things in crisis, we jump in, we may have to do things for people, but we say, I will do this for the next 10 days or 2 weeks. You put a strict limit on it and you withdraw. Never mind your feelings, because again, your feelings are not going to indicate to you the right thing to do. If you're an altruistic person and you get a lot of energy out of doing for other people, you're more at risk because you want to help. But you have to understand that said it's 2 weeks, and during that period of time, you would let the person know by 2 weeks, I expect you to be able to do A, B, and C. Certainly, you can't get into where you keep putting your hand in your pocket and doing that. Putting your hand in your pocket and doing that. All right? Decide beforehand if you're going to give anything, put a limit on it, and once that limit comes, don't pay attention to the feeling. All right? The feeling is not supposed to guide you. Structure, have it in place, and make sure you're teaching them to fish and not giving them fish, so that they don't become dependent on you. All right?
Floor, please.
There's a mic there. You want a mic up? Okay.
She's agreeing with what you said.
Okay, she says it's too emotional for her. She'll break down if she starts to talk, but she's agreeing with what I'm saying. This is your chance. I'm here. You have me. You have a question, don't go out and back it up and talk about what you would have asked me. Or what you think I would have said. I tell people, you can have a conversation with me, please allow me to be there.
It ain't costing anything.
Nothing. There's no dumb question. Okay, again, let me do what I told you to. One coming. All right. But while that person comes, let me to tell you that I'm going to do exactly what I told you that you should do. Don't pressure people to talk. You see? I'm not pressuring you to talk. I'm inviting you to come.
Thank you, Dr. Barrett. Great presentation.
Thank you.
We are all believers. Most of us here today are believers. And there's a lot of talk now about mental health. And I've been doing a lot of research. And what would you say to believers? You've referenced the scripture today, God is our refuge and strength. But what are practical ways daily that we can renew ourselves and have that good mental health when the storm's done?
Okay. That's a wonderful question. There's several parts to that. The first thing is that we have to understand that health is not the absence of illness. Okay? And if you want to know what mental health is, you can go on the WHO website as well, and they will give you the definition of mental health. But generally speaking, it means being able to meet the challenges of the day, being able to get along with people, and being able to face problems and plan to get through those problems into the future. And so that's generally speaking what mental health is. Now, how do we keep ourselves healthy? Then we have to understand first that if I don't consider my mental health high in priority, I'm not going to do the things, because we do the things that matter to us. That's why I said everybody would have been to the airport this morning. nobody would have missed their plane. 624. You understand what I'm saying? So we do the things that are important to us. So if we now decide that we agree with 3 John verse 2, okay? Beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and what? Be in health, even as thy soul, which is the mind, the will, the imagination, the emotions, the intellect, the psyche. That's what the Greek word it came from. It came from. So if we decide that that's important, just like the Bible says is important, then we have to now understand that if I am not able to concentrate, that may be a sign that I am not in best mental health. If I find myself irritable, that may be a sign I'm not in best mental health. If I find that I'm not sleeping because I'm going over my mind and I can't turn off my mind, that may be a sign I'm not in best mental health. That doesn't mean I'm mentally ill. You see the difference? You're not mentally ill, but you're not in the best mental health. And things like exercise, daily meditation, taking time out for yourself, just forgiveness, not harboring resentment and bitterness. These are very important things to free you from the weight of the negative ideas and images and thoughts that will bedevil you and cause your mental health to be compromised. Right? That's a very brief answer for a question that needs a longer discussion, but I hope you get some idea from what I said. Okay. So, gentlemen.
Next question. Please approach the mic.
Same ladies first. Good afternoon.
The Word of God says faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Our faith is strong. Cry for Hanna will come by. Deeper.
Amen. You know, you mentioned about your faith being strong. And we have faith in God. We believe He can. And we exercise our faith because we believe He will. And at the end of the day, you got to trust God. Which means you don't know if or when. You certainly don't know how. You know, when Job says, though He slay me, Job says, I don't know what's going on. But I choose to trust Him. It's a choice. All right? So you remember that trust means I don't know. So when you're trying to find out in order to trust, sorry, as soon as you find out, you ain't got to trust no more. All right? Trust means that. What we say we have to trust Him even when we can't trace Him. Okay? Somebody else?
Heavy question. At the end of your speech, but at the end of your speech, you said that we can't speak for God in saying that He sent storm, He didn't send storm. Could you please explain that? Because I feel personally, God don't need us to speak for Him. Sometimes He does things and it's obvious. And there's even a caution to you that if you don't adjust, something worse can happen.
Okay.
So I wish you could please expand on that one.
I have an explanation. There is a passage of scripture which says everybody has to work out their own salvation with fear and trembling. And so you said sometimes God does things and it's obvious and you didn't complete the sentence. You should have said it's obvious to me. Get it? That's where everything is explained. What you believe, you have every right to believe, and you have that God-given right. But I don't know anyone who can speak for God on a particular subject. And if you are speaking for God, then everybody should be saying the same thing. There shouldn't be any deviation from person to person, church to church, place to place, if it has accuracy. So this is where I challenge people to trust God. If we look for God, we'll find Him in all the details according to the exercise of our faith. But again, it's based on what our relationship is with God, what we believe, what we've been taught, what we think is God's will and not God's will. And you got to work out your own salvation with fear and trembling.
Dr. Barrett, thank you for your presentation. I think you answered to the end question that I wanted to ask, but I'll wait on what I wanted to ask. Yes, because I wanted to know that even persons, I think you answered by saying social media, the persons who are not there in the midst of Abaco or Grandma, in the midst of the storm, if a person or persons could even be more affected than somebody who you experience.
Yes. It depends on who that person is. The damage that comes mentally is the fear, horror, apprehension you have of something happening to someone that you love or care for. With you thinking about it, seeing on social media all these images that are coming, they even sent around something about this is Abaco, and it wasn't Abaco. You know, that went viral for a while. Okay, and you're feeling helpless to do anything about it, and a sense of hopelessness. That's where the most devastating psychological damage is.
Second part of the question, you spoke about limitations.
Yeah.
And, well, I'm almost sure, I mean, I probably don't even need to mention this, but I'm almost sure that you said in context, in terms of, you talked about, I guess, in a way, an exit before you even enter an exit plan. And how does that, anyway, let me ask the audience. How does that relate when that is your loved one, your best friend, your husband, your wife? There's no...
Well, that's a different relationship. That's a different relationship. That's more interdependence. And hopefully relationships are based on interdependence, because for a while, if they have to be dependent, then you might allow that so that when they can regain their level of independence that they once had, you can move back to interdependence. Because for interdependence, you have to have two independent entities choosing to collaborate. When one entity is not independent, then there's going to be some level of dependence. You may have to just acknowledge that and decide for X. But let's remember, not too long ago, we had the world crisis where the economy collapsed, okay, worldwide. And many people here lost their jobs. So 4 people in the house may have been working, and then they end up with 1 person working. You know what happened? The 1 person who was working was the most devastating. People talk about all the persons that lost their job. I talk about the people that still have jobs. Because now everybody vexed with them, they want $5 and you get it, but you're working. They want $20 for this. Like you have an endless source of funds. Same sort of.
And again, the question about limitations and feelings.
Right.
This question comes from a financial aspect in terms of what to give, what not to give. And I'm sure that's working on your own salvation and as it applies to yourself.
Right.
But where, if you can say generally speaking, in terms of a line, when you're talking about feelings versus feeling some obligation, or you're feeling directed by God beyond sometimes from a sacrificial.
I would say if you want to make sacrifices, if you feel that's God directed, then please go ahead. I don't see why anyone who's a Christian would do anything without prayer first and some sort of prayer-based plans that you feel God is directing. The business is, see, God doesn't make you feel guilty. All right. So if you feel guilty, that don't sound like Him. There's therefore now no condemnation. He loves a free. The giving should be free will. It should be happy and hilarious. All right. Not guilt-ridden. So if you start to feel guilty, then you say, no. I'd like to like Jesus, so people get me behind Him. And then work it out. It's not black and white. You may decide after you decide on 2 weeks and I'll go another week. Okay? It's a dynamic, fluid situation based on what you assess is the need and what you're prepared to give at that time. Making sure that you don't extend yourself to the point where you're now disabling you and those you are directly responsible for. Okay?
Dr. Barrett, I wish to thank you, sir, for an outstanding presentation. Church, do we appreciate the Lord for this lesson? I want you to let me, sir, because I'm going to invite one of your colleagues. Doctors are agents of healing. And
We have a senior doctor with us today. It's a friend of yours, Dr. Glenn Beneby, and we've asked him to come and pray a general prayer of healing, but also to pray for people like you who are in the theater of operation and you're trying to help us. And at the end of the day, you still have to go into a family. And so we pray that that balm that is in Gilead can be applied to you as well. Dr. Glenn.
Where he leads, I will follow. Where he leads me, I will follow. Where he leads me, I creator of all mankind, you who made us the same yesterday, today, and forever. And there's no hurricane or any disaster or catastrophe that you cannot control or you're not more powerful than. We come to you with that kind of faith, and we trust and believe in you. We thank you for this opportunity today to hear from my fellow colleague, a fellow medical colleague, but more importantly, one that believes as a child of God and is common in that belief. Lord, we pray for the wisdom you have given our pastor to having to come and to express and make this presentation. We have all benefited from it. We have all benefited from it. We've heard your word in a different way, but it doesn't change. The word of God still remains the same, and it gives us hope for the day and tomorrow. Yes, we believe we want to be in good health, but we must realize that we have to depend on you for everything. Now we ask your special blessings upon Dr. Timothy Barrett in his ministry, in his work, in the things that he's doing in medicine and psychiatry, but more importantly, to walk the walk of faith, so those who do not believe will come to believe that there is a God who's able to do exceeding abundantly above what you may ask or think, according to the power that worketh in us. And Lord, we depend on you for that Holy Ghost power to functionize this function. Lord, we thank you for the church and the work that they did during the hurricane. Many do not know, many do not realize the homes they touched, the families they touched, the people they secured during this hurricane. We thank you for the national office. We thank you for every member who helped their families wherever they were. Those who helped people who nobody knows about. No longer than the day people are calling and we are giving. Oh God, but we have to do so with understanding, with faith and hope. And Lord, as we come towards the end of the service, we want to leave taking you with us in our life and taking you with us to do the work that we are called to do with purpose and meaning. Lord, we thank you, we praise you, and we lift you
and why we lift you up, because when you lift it up, you draw all men unto you. Lord, we thank you, Lord, especially as we go forward for those who are in the hurricane, that they will be blessed and strengthened, and that they will come to a better knowledge of what we expect of us as human beings and our limitations. Humble us. Help us to be humble under the mighty hands of God, and in due season you will exalt us, exalt Bahamas, and exalt our bodies. We ask this in the name of Jesus, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. In Jesus' name I pray, and I want the whole church to join me in saying, Amen.
God bless you. Let's give now Dr. Barrett a hand clap. Please do not leave. We're just about there. We're just about there. And now we want to, before we make other comments, we want to encourage you, please, to give a good offering today. We know that you come to not only be blessed, but to be a blessing. So I'm going to ask your sister to come real quickly. Come real quickly and just get out front here. And please bring your best offering. We need to be paying our tithes also. And we want to be faithful and obedient to God and we participate in these areas. So come very quickly. Let's move now with our tithes as well. Please bow your heads. And Father, we thank you today. We appreciate you, O God. You've given to us, Lord, in the first instance, you gave us health and strength. You gave us the creativity, you gave us the ability to have a source or sources of income. Help us, Lord, in obedience to you, Lord, to give back to ministry, to give back to the sake of God's work. Help us, Lord, to be fruitful in all that we do. Help us, Lord, to prove you that you will open the windows of heaven and pour blessings upon us, and there will not even be room enough for us to receive. We bless you again, Father, in Jesus' wonderful name. And God's people said, Amen. Come very quickly now, bring a wonderful piece of offering, and let's worship God in this way. Amen. Amen. What a wonderful day this has been, and we just thank God for his faithfulness. We thank the Lord for those who are here with us today from Albuquerque, those who are here with us from Grand Bahama. I also wish to thank the Lord for Dr. Wilde Bain. Dr. Wilde Bain, please stand, she's in the back there. We bless the Lord for her, daughter of our own sister Natalie, and Brother Wilson Bain. God bless you. Let's give wonderfully. Please don't leave. We have some very important things we need to say before we dismiss. And so let's see how quickly we can do this and settle back down just for a few more minutes, and then we will wrap up. Amen. Let's give wonderfully. Make sure everyone has an opportunity to pay the tithes. We wish to say and extend on behalf of Bishop Woodley, myself, and our